The world of celebrity gossip thrives on whispers, rumors, and carefully crafted images. But every once in a while, something happens that pierces through the glossy surface and shakes even the most loyal fanbase to its core. That was exactly the case when Sam Heughan, the Scottish actor celebrated for his role as Jamie Fraser in Outlander, delivered a statement that no one saw coming. His words, sharp and direct, carried the weight of a confession that felt less like a media soundbite and more like a bomb dropped in the middle of his carefully curated career. The context made the revelation even more dramatic. Sam has long been seen as the quiet, grounded star, the man who embodied romance and loyalty on screen but stayed relatively private off-screen. Fans adored him for his gentlemanly manners, his ability to charm without arrogance, and his consistent silence on personal matters. For years, Sam's image seemed bulletproof, a mix of Scottish pride and Hollywood polish. But in this unexpected moment, he broke character. He didn't sound like the polished leading man reading from a PR-approved script. He sounded raw, unfiltered, even defiant. Those who were in the room described the atmosphere as tense, like the air had been sucked out just as he spoke. Cameras clicked furiously, journalists leaned forward, and within seconds, the statement spread like wildfire across every corner of social media. Hashtags bearing his name shot to trending lists, and fan pages that once celebrated his every move were suddenly divided. So what exactly did Sam say that caused such a stir? His words touched on themes that fans and the media had speculated about for years but had never been directly acknowledged by him. Whether it was about his personal relationships, behind-the-scenes tensions, or his own frustrations with the pressures of fame, Sam's confession was layered with raw honesty. "I've carried this for too long," he reportedly said, his voice steady yet edged with exhaustion. "People think they know me because of the roles I play, but the truth is far more complicated." That single line, "the truth is far more complicated," ignited a firestorm. For fans who had invested years in shipping him with his on-screen partner Caitríona Balfe, the ambiguity of his statement raised more questions than answers. Was this a veiled message about their off-screen dynamic? Was it an admission that the chemistry they displayed on camera came with heavy personal costs? Or was it something even deeper, hinting at hidden struggles that had been masked by the bright lights of fame? In the hours that followed, social media became a battlefield. Some fans defended Sam's right to speak out, applauding him for breaking the silence and showing vulnerability. Others accused him of recklessness, claiming he had deliberately thrown gasoline on long-standing rumors. The fandom, usually united in celebrating their favorite duo, was suddenly fractured into camps. Those who felt compassion for Sam's honesty and those who believed he had crossed a line that could damage not just his reputation, but Caitríona's as well. The press wasted no time amplifying the chaos. Tabloid headlines screamed about a shocking confession, and speculated endlessly about what Sam was truly implying. Entertainment outlets dissected every syllable, every expression on his face, every pause in his speech. Some claimed he looked relieved, as though he had finally lifted a heavy burden. Others insisted he looked angry, perhaps even resentful, hinting at personal grievances that had festered behind closed doors. But the most unsettling ripple effect came from the reaction of Caitríona Balfe. For years, she and Sam had navigated a tricky balance between on-screen intimacy and off-screen professionalism. Their partnership was the heart of Outlander's success, and fans adored the illusion of closeness, even when both actors repeatedly stated they were just friends and colleagues. Yet, Sam's words left Caitríona in an impossible position. If she remained silent, people would interpret her silence as agreement, or worse, complicity. If she spoke out, she risked fueling the fire and exposing cracks in the image they had both worked so hard to maintain. Insiders later claimed that Caitríona was visibly shaken when she heard the statement. Her usual calm and composed demeanor was replaced by agitation, disbelief, and perhaps even anger. The phrase, "out of control," was whispered by those close to the situation, not to paint her as irrational, but to describe how profoundly the statement had destabilized her. She, too, had built a career on discretion, professionalism, and control over her public image. For Sam to suddenly pull the curtain back without warning felt like betrayal, not necessarily personal, but professional, emotional, and reputational all at once. Part 1 of this saga ends with a picture of turmoil. Sam's statement ricocheting across headlines, fans locked in heated debates, and Caitríona caught in the storm of speculation she never asked for. The tension is palpable, the questions are mounting, and the world waits to see what Caitríona will do next. Because if Sam's confession was the spark, her reaction may very well become the wildfire that consumes them both. The aftermath of Sam Heughan's startling confession was as explosive as the statement itself. His words didn't just spark curiosity. They ignited a firestorm that swept directly into Caitríona Balfe's world. She had been by his side for years, sharing the screen, navigating red carpets, and weathering endless rumors about the nature of their relationship. But this time, the headlines weren't about speculation, they were about her. Those close to Caitríona say she felt blindsided. There had been no warning, no quiet heads-up that Sam planned to break years of silence in such a dramatic way. For a woman who had built her career on maintaining poise and control, the sudden loss of narrative was devastating. Caitríona, usually the calm center in a whirl of media frenzy, was said to be shaken, her composure slipping in ways that those around her had rarely seen. Behind closed doors, her frustration reportedly boiled over. Words like reckless and selfish were whispered among insiders who claimed she lashed out at the sheer lack of foresight. One comment, allegedly made in private, summed it up: "He's not just speaking for himself. Whether he likes it or not, he's speaking for me too." For Caitríona, the problem wasn't only what Sam had said, it was the way it dragged her into a storm she had fought to keep at bay for nearly a decade. The media wasted no time framing her as the collateral damage of his confession. Paparazzi caught her looking tense during routine appearances, and photos of furrowed brows and clipped smiles became fodder for speculation. Was she angry, heartbroken, betrayed? Every glance, every gesture was dissected like evidence in a public trial. Online, hashtags split the fandom into warring camps. Hashtag Team Sam and Team Caitríona trended as fans rewound old interviews, analyzing body language and exchanging theories like detectives chasing a case. Inside the industry, whispers grew louder. The chemistry between Sam and Caitríona had been the bedrock of Outlander's success. Could it survive this fracture? Producers worried about the impact on future seasons, promotional tours, and fan conventions, where the duo had always been the star attraction. The carefully maintained illusion of harmony now seemed fragile, vulnerable to the very gossip it once thrived on. The strain reportedly bled into their private interactions. Caitríona, known for her measured tone, was said to have confronted Sam directly, demanding explanations. "Why now? Why like this? Did you think about what it would cost me?" Sam's response, according to insiders, was firm but unapologetic. He had carried the burden of silence for too long and could no longer play the role of the untroubled leading man. To him, the truth, however messy, was worth the risk. The tension wasn't just personal, it was professional. Caitríona had worked tirelessly to establish her credibility outside of Outlander, securing roles in independent films and maintaining a life away from tabloid glare. Suddenly, all of that careful distance was collapsing. No matter what she did, every headline tied her back to Sam's statement, as though her career and identity were now reduced to the fallout of someone else's choice. In one rare interview, Caitríona finally let her guard slip, if only for a moment. "People forget that we're human," she said. "We give so much of ourselves on screen, but we're expected to carry the weight of fantasies and expectations in real life too. It's exhausting." She never mentioned Sam by name, but the subtext was impossible to miss. To many, it was the clearest signal yet of her frustration. Rather than quelling the storm, her words only deepened it. Critics claimed she was throwing shade at her co-star. Supporters argued she was standing up for herself. The narrative of a woman, out of control, took root, not because she was unhinged, but because her carefully constructed mask had finally slipped. The calm, graceful actress was now a lightning rod for the very drama she had spent years avoiding. And so, the story spiraled beyond either of their control. Friendships were questioned, alliances tested, reputations put under siege. The partnership that had once seemed unbreakable suddenly looked fragile. What had begun as one man's shocking confession had become a full-blown saga. One that blurred the line between reality and performance, honesty and spectacle. The question that lingered wasn't about what Sam said or how Caitríona reacted. It was whether either of them could ever reclaim the narrative. Was this an authentic eruption of truth, or just another chapter in the never-ending theater of fame? In the end, only they know for sure. The rest of the world is left with fragments, expressions caught on camera, quotes pulled out of context, and the haunting sense that a bond we thought was unshakable may never be the same again.